Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Motivational Monday from me and apparently Mag. That song that we opened up with, it was called Anybody Can Sing by Proxima Parada. And there are two lines in the song that really get me. First of all, it says, um, there's a line that basically says, if you're trying to go out and get wasted, don't invite me. I'm not that thirsty. And he's like, I'm 30, I'm not that thirsty. And it's so funny because I turned 30 in 2 days and I'm like, I don't drink anymore. I don't do anything. So I love that line. But there's another line that says, it says something along the lines of, it's amazing that you read self-help books, but who are you when you put them down? It's great that you read self-love books, but who are you when you put them down? And I think it's a testament to the idea of taking in information and of being of being that like on that constant quest for development and for growth, but also, there's work to be done after we're on these sessions, right? There's work to be done after we learn something. It's like, how do we put it into play? How do we show up better? And I've been learning a lot of things. I think one of the things I've been learning the most is vulnerability and how to drop 111 in the chat if you guys sometimes wait too long to say something to people. That's one of my weaknesses. And I know that, as someone who dates every so often, that's a question that people ask me is like, what are your red flags? And not what are the red flags I see in others, but what are my red flags? And one of them is waiting too long. So this morning I was like, I'm waiting too long to send messages. So I sent 3 messages that I've been waiting to send that aren't easy messages, but needed to be sent. And I'm like, oh, we're doing the work. So I hope this week you guys are doing a little bit of the work and getting a little bit uncomfortable in doing the work because I think our growth and our evolution comes from the points in our lives where we really have to radically look at ourselves and say, you know what? I should do things differently. I should take responsibility for myself. I should take responsibility for my actions. I should be putting in work. And also, I love that you all are here on a holiday week because it could be very easy not to be here. But, with traveling and gifts and the holidays and all the other things, sometimes it's nice to just get regrounded in and to have a dose of positivity. So, today is our last session, I believe, right? Next Monday is the 1st of December. So this is our last session of money management. We started with money mindset back in October for our financial well-being series. We are in money management right now, so giving you the real practical tools on how to get you to where you want to go. We've talked about savings, investing, mindset. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about budgeting and really dating your money. And then next month, we're doing money momentum because we want to give you the tools that you need to keep up all of the work that you've been doing and to support you on your journey. So, with that, we have the wonderful Candace here with us. She was here with us last month talking about mindset and preparing for a relationship, dating our money, and really putting it into the perspective of having fun, dating your money, letting it be something that you put in work towards and that doesn't necessarily feel like a burden. So now that we're talking about managing our money, what shifts and what does this next exclusive relationship phase look like when we're actually talking about dating our money? So we have the beautiful Candace here. She's also known as Coach C. She's a devoted wife, dog mom, and purpose-driven entrepreneur. And after nearly 8 years as a medical coder, emotional burnout led her to take a leap of faith and found her own wellness enterprise, which starting in 2026, we're starting the year with wellness because a lot of us know how to do all of the things, but we don't know how to be satisfied with what we're doing. So Candace's story is perfect for that. She was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder in 2015 and major depressive disorder in 2022. And she finally embraced an intensive therapy journey in 2023. And now she proudly advocates for healing through mindset, movement, and in this space, money, baby. She's an NASM certified personal trainer, nutrition coach, and behavioral change specialist, currently pursuing roles as a clinical exercise physiologist, marriage and family therapist, and licensed clinical counselor, ultimately pursuing a PhD in clinical sports and performance psychology. Whew, this woman does a lot. She is guided by faith and she's on a mission to heal the world one beautiful soul at a time. And she actively advocates for people of color to reclaim their health, restore their minds, and rise in their own power. Welcome, Candace. It's so nice to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm so excited about today's conversation. I'm really looking forward to us getting out the player phase and into the serious dating phase. So I'm ready.
So good. We are so excited for today's session. We've spent a lot of time working on this and being like, how can we maximize the time that we have together and make sure that this is a worthwhile conversation? And of course, Candace is always a crowd pleaser, so it makes it a lot easier.
Hi, Ravina. Yes, I try to be.
So cute. Oh, look at all the love you're getting in the chat. It's so beautiful.
Thank y'all.
So, yeah, last month we was all about mindset and we were preparing for the relationship, kind of dating, kind of seeing how we liked it, right? And now that we're
Yes.
talking about managing our money, what shifts and what does that next exclusive relationship phase look like? And it's so funny because my friend's been dating a dude and today she decided she's going exclusive. And I was like, "Are you in a relationship?" And she's like, "No, not yet. I'm just committing to seeing him exclusively. I'm not giving him everything." And I think that's kind of where we're at today with our money, right?
Yes, there's such a distinction. We have to learn there's a distinction between being exclusive and being in a relationship. So, a lot of the shifts that happen is like when we talked last month, it was about mindset. Now we're switching to management. The internal work we did is now external action and accountability, and dating is now exclusivity, but it's not yet a full-blown relationship. You're trying it out, testing the waters. You're kind of getting out the player phase a little bit, just like a tiny, teeny bit, but keeping it a little player, right? And so you're actually getting really serious with your money now, and it becomes less about how you feel about money and more how you handle it with accountability and responsibility. And I
Mm.
want you to think about management. I try to shy away from the term budget exclusively. If that works for you, I support that. But budget really throws people off. It feels very restrictive. And we'll talk about that later. But management entails just communicating. So looking, actually looking, right? Boundaries, you have limits, but with intention. And then you have consistency where habits are actually bigger than your feelings. So just because you feel like you need something or feel like you want to get something, you are actually in a more disciplined habit. And so this is where the tools that matter start showing up, like YNAB. I don't know if any of y'all, if y'all use YNAB, throw it up in the chat because this is a really popular one for structure. It's called You Need a Budget. Rocket Money, which is for tracking and cleanup. And then you have Every Dollar by Dave Ramsey. He has a whole system and it's for straightforward spending. And this is where you like I feel like you move into this phase when you're ready to get honest about what's coming in, what's going out, and what isn't working. Just like when you did the work on yourself, you've set standards for yourself and for the people that you invite into your life. It's the same thing when it comes to money management. So I want you to think about this phase kind of like for some of y'all like to test the cow before, or is it buy the cow before you test the milk? Something, girl, one of them, right? You try to test it out before you really get in it, right? Test drive. So think of this like if you believe in moving in with someone, or if you really, really, really like to just hone in on one person. This is like when you spend almost all your free time with them together. You see everything more clearly, you see their patterns, their habits, and then the reality of the relationship. We trying to get out of situationships, right? Like situationships was that toxicity that we didn't want. And you learn how to manage your real habits and how to operate together, how your new mindset works with your new developing habits. So this is really when we getting serious and we boot up. It's cuffing season, so we really want to cuff it up with our money.
I love it. Oh, I love cuffing season so much. The cozy
That
kind.
was so cute.
I do. I mean, if you guys can see, I'll show you a little bit of my apartment, but like I have this big couch that my dog is cuddled on, and I'm like, I
Yep.
got the big couch for this season of just cuddling and things because I'm like, ah, but it's true. I think
Yep.
I'm actually really curious about what your definition of a situationship with your money would look like versus a relationship with your money, because those are two very different things. And I want to make
Mhm.
sure that people are on like the good track of like, let's make sure we're building something healthy, long-term, stable, and meaningful, and not something that like doesn't really have purpose and kind of might not go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's, and we'll talk about this in depth, but I think it's the difference between bringing baggage in and then knowing yourself and knowing what it is that you do and do not want. So a situationship is bringing anything in regardless of how it makes you feel or the other person feel, you just there. Like y'all just there. You hang out, you're
Mm.
toxic when you feel like it, you kind of cute when you feel like it. A a relationship or exclusivity is intention. I feel like situationships, there's no intention. Is I'm gonna hit you up at 3 a.m. to see what's good, or I'm gonna not post you online because I don't want really anybody to know. It's not being serious. Even if you're exclusive and you're not in a relationship, you're taking that situation, not situationship, but that situation more seriously. So as we start to discuss like baggage and what that looks like, that's really the distinction between a situationship with your money, which we don't want, versus an exclusive commitment with your money.
Yeah, to me, if we were in a situationship with our money, it would feel kind of like a free for all. Like this idea that
Yeah.
we're almost doing something great with our money, but we know that we're not, and we're not really actually putting in the work, but we say we're putting in the work, which it's kind of easy to get there. And I think like as a society, that's kind of a norm as well, is like we don't talk about money, we don't talk about finances. So many people are in debt. Being in debt is normal, but which is fine, but everyone's shaming themselves for it because we're not talking about it when really we could be more purposeful with our money, using it for the things that we
Mhm.
want, understanding our longer term vision in our lives, what we want to do, where we want to go. We don't have to be fully committed and like locked in,
Right.
but we have to start seeing like how are we going to compromise? How are my needs going to match, my money's needs? How can my money work for me? How can we do this dance together in a way where all of us feel good at the end of the day? And by all of us, I mean me and my bank accounts and me and my financial institutions. We should all feel good towards each other in theory, but we just haven't been taught
Mhm.
that. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, you literally said it. We all bring financial baggage into adulthood. Do you know what kind of baggage tends to show up when people start managing their money? And maybe what are some of those practical ways that they can begin unpacking it? Because I have a feeling there are people on this call who are understanding, okay, maybe I do have some baggage with money. Maybe I've got some stories. Maybe I haven't treated it well. And they might just need help realizing what that is and how to start undoing some of it.
Yeah, I really want you guys to think not about managing money as starting clean, because we don't come into this world clean. They got to wipe the meconium off of us. Like we come into this world already predisposed to habits and patterns, and then we learn them socially and environmentally. So don't think of having to start your finances completely clean. Think of it as wanting to start with patterns that you've adopted through healthy mindset transformation. So, baggage really does look like fear of checking your accounts, avoiding anything related to your money, guilt around spending, which I am very guilty of. And learn behaviors from family. Again, a lot of us, especially for those of us with the melanin, and it's no slight to anyone who doesn't experience this, but we are not conditioned to think about generational wealth and proper spending. We think of acquisition as a leg up in society because we went so long without. So, and then it looks like childhood scarcity, even like if you came up impoverished or underserved, that already sets you in a poverty mindset, and that's not your fault. And then just anything else like past repos, which I've experienced, evictions, and then debt trauma. And just know that baggage isn't always yours. When we come into a relationship, it's not always our fault when we bring some baggage in, but it is our responsibility to mend ourselves, and it can be generational. And so really something like avoidance is actually the number one um, baggage that keeps people stuck. So how to unpack it, you want to make sure you ask yourself like weekly check-ins, like what triggered you, what made me spend more, what made me feel more in control. You want the positives and or the negatives. You don't want to just shame yourself like, why did I do that, why did I do that? It's asking the proper adequate questions, well-rounded questions, open-ended questions. Did I spend
Mhm.
well? That may not be a yes or no. There may be nuance to that. What made me feel like I was thrown off? And then you could even do journaling prompts, because you might write down what beliefs you have about money that you're ready to release, what beliefs you have about money that are keeping you stuck. And then you can use something like Rocket Money, which it literally reveals your baggage. So it shows you like old subscriptions, duplicates, and forgotten or hidden charges. But honestly, I really want you guys to see it this way, that the same way that you don't want to bring baggage. A lot of us think like, take me as I am type of thing, but that's not really what any healthy relationship looks like. You don't want to bring ex drama into a new, we don't want baby mama, baby daddy drama, right? And so we don't want money drama either. You don't want to bring financial trauma into your new money habits. It's just like there's a scripture that says you don't put new wine into old wineskins. You don't want something that's supposed to be precious and new and coveted into something that can sink and break down. You don't want that.
It makes me think about too, like, I want you all to think about your first relationship versus where you are now, right? I could not be held accountable necessarily for the things that I did wrong in that relationship because it was my first time. I had no idea. I was a hot mess. If Kira at almost 30 was dating like Kira at 15, 16, oh my God, I would be a literal hazard to society. But it's the same
Same.
thing with your money too, right?
Yeah.
Like you might have a poor track record in the past with your money, but we as a society have not been taught how to handle our money. So you can't fully be held responsible for what you did in the past. We can let it go, we can learn, we can grow. But here's where we start taking the responsibility, right? We start seeing what we've
Mhm.
done. We start looking at maybe the bad habits that we've had, some of the things that we want to change. And it gives us this freedom to start being like, okay, I definitely did it wrong before, and I know that, and I can absolutely learn from that. And what can I do differently now? And it's little things. Charles and I talked about having an automatic withdrawal into a savings account or into an investing account every single week. Why is that important? Because you have an automatic win every single week that you just preset into your little formulas and it's already done and you don't have to think about it. But when you're sitting there thinking about what did I do this week? What did I accomplish this week? There's already a built-in win, which when you're building habits and changing, the more wins you can give yourself and the easiest wins you can give yourself are going to be the most impactful because it's going to fuel your way forward. So, with that, Candace, managing money can feel restrictive and stressful for a lot of people. We know this. How can we start managing our money without feeling punished or limited? And how can we make it feel more reciprocal, like we are in a healthy relationship that pours back into us the same way that we pour back into it?
Absolutely. I really want to touch on the idea of fault and your role. So, just kind of tying back to the previous conversation is when we think about what we want to do differently, ask yourself, what was my role in it before? This is like the number one thing I try to think of in my marriage with my husband or when I'm talking to my members is you definitely want to take away fault and think of role. What was my role in it? Wasn't my fault, but what was my role? So now when you move into this one without feeling restricted or punished, that has to feel like fault. Like it's my fault. Therefore, I have to restrict or punish myself. No, you want something to be beneficial to you. And so you want to know what your role in making it beneficial to you is. And so I have a principle that divides people, but relationships are transactional and people are kind of polarized when I say that, but the healthiest relationships are transactional. They are reciprocal. Just like in a partnership, your money should be giving something back to you. You wouldn't want to be in one where you're always giving with no ROI, which is another idea that I use a lot. I use return on investment a lot. Make your money make money. So every swipe or every spend should have a return. I'm a card user or I buy online because I'm always using somebody's Rakuten or somebody's Capital One shopping, someone's cash back. If you shop at Target, make sure you try to buy online. The reason why I say that is because even if you go into the store, if you have an account, they have options where when you shop in store, there's coupons for that item. And then when you check out, when you use your phone number, it gives you that discount. Couponing has become easier in this day and age where you don't have to actually clip them, but when you buy, they're already ushered into your account. Same thing with like Ralph's if y'all have Ralph's where y'all live. So you want cashback cards, debit cards with rewards, PayPal debit card and Discover debit card are really good ones. And then you just want like interest bearing accounts, which usually aren't brick and mortar unless they're a credit union. You want to look for like Ally, and then there are others that give you interest for your money just sitting there. I am huge on ROI. And my ROI mindset is I don't give money to nobody unless I'm getting something. It's a give and get over here, right? And so if you're going to get my business, I want something back. So at Ulta, I should be the CEO because I'm literally buying from there like every day, right? But it's because I love their reward system. So everywhere, especially holiday season, you guys, keep this in mind. Everything you buy, they better give you something. Even if it's a freebie, you could sell it later or have it later and not have to spend money because they give you a bunch of goodies for free when you buy stuff. You want to really keep that in mind, especially during the holidays. So again, Rakuten, put that in your browser. Capital One Shopping, Retail Me Not, Cooper, PayPal Honey. And then here's something else. Even if you don't do online shopping or you don't do it all the time, give yourself accountability challenges. Kira had sent me one where you mark off how many days you don't spend, and then at the end of a certain period, you reward yourself, right? So there's like saving charts on Etsy. You can make them on Canva where you check off how many days you haven't spent, and at the end goal, you get something. So like I believe you did concert tickets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me and my hubby, we want to go to the Young Jeezy concert, so maybe we need to start. So, but you could do like swear jars, which they feel childish, but relationships, you want to feel like a kid again, right? So you want games, you want things that bring you joy, like no spend bingo or no spend buy nothing days. And you want things that bring you joy. You want to feel like a kid again in your relationship. So I really think that having a healthy relationship with money is intimate with your money. There's connection with your money, and your money relationship should always, always be rewarding and fulfilling, literally.
Yeah, and I talk about gamifying, which is what I did. I'm sharing
Yes.
my screen and showing you guys my little challenge. So I started it back in February of 2025, but I did a no spend challenge. And if I hit 11 spend free days, I would be able to sign up for pottery in March. I actually didn't end up doing that. I did a 6 month intensive Spanish course, which was a lot more expensive and a lot more fulfilling, but I every day that I didn't spend money, I highlighted the little bubble. And then every day that I did spend money, I wrote in what I spent my money on in those little bubbles. So it was really cool because not only did I get to see how much I didn't spend, but then I got to see how much I did spend. And it was this cool little game of like, how many days can I go? And then if I do have to spend, how little can I spend? And it just makes it fun because shopping is fun. Spending our money is fun. Getting the nice home is fun. Going out to dinner is fun. All the things that we get to have with money are fun. But the shame that we sometimes feel afterwards when we don't have a good, healthy tool set for us, um, it's just not worth it, right? So we can make it better. We can actually live according to our goals and what we want to do. I want to talk a little bit about budgeting. We don't have to call it that. We can call it whatever you want. But how does someone figure out which system actually fits their lifestyle and how long should they try a system before deciding that it works for them?
Um, you need to know that a system fits when you actually give it time. So, like scientists, they're kind of divided on when the actual time frame of a habit develops. It's anywhere between 21 to 66 days, but you need to have your own trial period. Don't come to me be like, Coach C, it's not working. Girl, I don't know what's going on. Girl, you also just told me you be binge watching Love Island for an hour every night. So we not getting anywhere because we're not getting anywhere. Or like you saw the Martha Stewart launch of their her semi-sweet thins at Crumble Cookies. And you keep eating those every day, and that was me. So yeah. But that's why you're not reaching your goals. You're not giving it time. I told him myself, I don't care. That's me. But you want to give yourself time. You have to give yourself time, but don't put all your eggs in one basket. So just like exclusive versus relationship, you do want to date around a little bit. You want to try things until they work, but like dating, some people can keep it playa, but for most of us, we do better. We thrive when we do one at a time. So you want to try one tool at a time and make it a full system. So your system could be one new app, like you need a budget, Rocket Money, every dollar. one new card or bank resource. So if you get a new bank that you want to try or a resource from your current bank that you want to try, and then one new way of using your cash. So if you want to do like cash stuffing, you could do that to actually allocate funds that can be spent in cash, or you can just review yourself every so often to make sure that you're using your money appropriately, like those extensions that I talked about. But just like in a relationship, you got to give yourself time to grow. You're not going to ghost it after a week if you want a healthy relationship. So you cannot trial something for an hour and be like it doesn't work. You have to give it time. And then if it doesn't work, build a new system and build a complete system and then try something else again.
And I think that we used to have access to a lot less, where we used to have to put every transaction in a checkbook or a budget sheet or an Excel sheet. And that's exhausting. Who wants to do that? It's 2025, almost 2026. We have access to so many tools and so many resources where we can be a little bit smarter, and it doesn't have to be, oh, I have to do the hard thing or I have to be perfect at it right now. It can be, what's the little bit of work that I can do today? Teeny tiny baby steps that I can do today to get me to where I want to go. So, as we're coming to a close on this conversation, Candace, do you have any final advice for people who are maybe just getting started? Maybe they feel intimidated. They either in the past maybe don't have a good track record, or they're just starting to build that track record. What's some advice that you would give them as they're navigating this journey?
Yeah. So as we close, we have less than a minute, right? Do this. Start a stopwatch. Think of one temptation you know you don't need that's been in your cart for 385 days, and then keep that in mind as you think of something you'd rather do, right? Keep the stopwatch going. Don't do it. Brainstorm of or think of something you want to prioritize, something you've been putting off, convincing yourself you don't need. And then I want you to stop the stopwatch. Do that thing for that length of time, however long it took you to think of and brainstorm that thing, and delete that tab you had open or delete that item out of your cart that you don't need. Do that thing. That proves to you that it takes very little time to get started on something better for yourself, like money habits, especially now during the holiday season. Simple.
Ah, so good. Such good advice. I love having Candace here. Y'all, she gave us so many resources in our planning document. So I'm just going to drop them in the chat for you. But Life Guides is a free tool, resource, and access that you have for yourself. So we do these events, yes, but we do our one-on-one journey calls with a guide. So if you're like, I know where I'm at now and I know where I want to go, but I don't know how to get there, how do you bridge those two together? Accountability, a guide, support, resources. So that is it for today's session. We usually send the recordings out on Thursday, but that's Thanksgiving. So I'll be sending the recording out tomorrow with the recording of our Investing 201 session as well. Thank you all so much for being here and for having
Thank
us.
you
We hope that
guys.
you get better financial relationship in yourself and in your journey.
Period. No
And
more playa.
yeah, and enjoy yourself, everyone. Talk soon.